In 1902, Luca and Donato Chiara opened a small shoe store in Italy. When they emigrated to the United States many years later, they continued their craft in the New York area. A century later, Luca Chiara's grandson, Martin Salerno, continues the family tradition by launching a brand to honor his ancestors with a modern twist, an environmentally conscious company that uses only soft-grain vegan leather and provides theft protection.
Marty, thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, you're very welcome.
You're founder of, let's say, Luca Chiara America, because it's like the bridge from your family heritage in Italy to Luca Chiara today. Tell us about the history of the company.
Well, my great-grandfather and great-great-grandfather came here together in 1902, and they basically had a small shoe store. And when they came over, that's how they made their living. Then the rest of the family followed a few years later, and I was raised here in the metropolitan area. After 30 years of being in the garment business, or the accessory business, I saw a need for this type of product. I go by very much like stylish, affordable, functional, and ethical. So we kind of use the mantra SAFE, S-A-F-E. And that sort of ties into some of the functionality of the product. Working in the business for a long time, I found that there were a lot of products out there, but somewhere along the lines, they were either not functional, not affordable, or not ethical. I started to research, and I found things that were frankly very upsetting in the leather industry. And I started thinking to myself, why do you need to even use leather when you can use so many other fabrics? Leather is very much, I compare it to the denim business. Years ago, we made denim leather here in the US because you were able to do things that you're no longer able to do. First of all, the cow has to be raised, or the lamb has to be raised. Sheep napper is pretty much the most popular material. It's raised the cheapest way possible. So it's not necessarily treated the best, the animal, and then it's obviously slaughtered. And then you have to skive leather, because people don't realize maybe that leather doesn't come in an even color. Cowhide is very stiff and thick, so it's skived. And then it has to be treated with chemicals, and then it has to be dyed. The amount of dye that you use to dye a leather hide is massive. So all those dyes go back into the environment. What's interesting about what I call vegan leather, there's two types of vegan leather. There's PVC, which is polyvinyl chloride, and then there's polyurethane. PVC is really used for pipes, and it is more toxic. It doesn't break down in a landfill, but PU, as we call it, or polyurethane, does break down in landfills eventually, and also it takes dye very evenly, and it doesn't absorb. So, for example, if your bag gets dirty, wipe it with soap and water, and it doesn't discolor. So if it's black, it's always going to be black. It's also, by the way, lighter. So a very important thing with particularly shoes, and a very important thing with bags, is light. So this is, one of the reasons why the what I call the Carmela ballet slipper is just a sensation. It's unbelievable.
Is it named after somebody?
It's named after my grandmother, yes, which is Carmela. But everything has a name. So I found that people are more inclined to remember and reorder and know what they want by the name.
And wait, are these all named after family members?
Some are, but there are names I happen to like, that's all also. My grandfather, Damiano, my cousin, Giorgio. I'm the only company that individually stitches each credit card slot. If you look at all levels of wallet, they're all mostly glued. So I fold over and I stitch. Glue dries, I don't use glue. I also line each individual credit card slot with the stainless steel, which is this material. This is literally stainless steel.
Wow.
If you are familiar with credit cards, there's a little computer smart chip that now all credit cards, all ATM cards, even driver's licenses, even passports, global access cards, they're all what's called RFID, radio frequency identification chipped, smart chipped. While the transaction at a store is safer, but what people don't realize is today you can buy an RFID reader online. I can go in my pocket, turn on my RFID scanner, and it reads everything within X number of feet. So by individually lining This stainless steel material blocks that transmission.
What made you decide to call it Luca Chiara and not another name?
The store was Donato and Luca Chiara, and Luca, who is my great-grandfather, he married Donato's daughter. And so I just liked the name. I was very fortunate to live in a building where my great-grandparents and grandparents, aunts, uncles, we all lived in the same building. I knew every story about them coming on the USS Cleveland. I knew everything. So where they came from in Italy, everything.
Was there something particularly that inspired you from the stories to do this, to go into this?
My father died when I was very young. So my mother really, had to raise 3 kids. And long story short, we became very practical. That's kind of why I spent a lot of time with my mother's family, because they raised us. It was a very hard life. They worked very, very hard. My grandmother used to work in a sewing factory in Lower Manhattan for 15-hour days. My grandfather used to work at the Fulton Fish Market. So it was tough for them. They were very practical. So it's about value, and it's about giving back. I work a lot with charities. I work a lot with vegan organizations. And there's a big organization that recently contacted me. I have a business membership with them, so I can use their seal of approval for products.
Okay.
And any information you need, just go to lucachiara.com. It's very simple.
Perfect.
Anyway, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.